My name is Paul Kirch, and I am the host and founder of a organization called Boss Academy. We started in 2014, and Boss Academy was a radio show in Dallas, drive time show that was called Boss Academy Radio, and then it became a top 10 business podcast. But today we're an online community supporting entrepreneurs, and that's been our mission since day one. Was how can we give back and support entrepreneurs? I've been a sales coach in some capacity for 20 years. I own a marketing agency, so I, got a wide breadth of experience that goes into a lot of what I teach entrepreneurs. I still work with sales teams, but a lot of the philosophies have been adapted to really help solopreneurs, coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs really thrive in any environment. So today we're going to be talking about some of my philosophies. I've got a methodology I created called ASKOLOGY. And for some of you, you may have seen some of these slides before, and that's okay because this is all very important information that we can all apply. There's some challenges that are facing all of us. Meeting people is not hard. Networking opportunities are everywhere. We can go on Alignable and do smart connects. We can connect with people in mass, and it just seems like we're always able to meet new people. However, I personally believe fortune's in the follow-up. And when it comes to following up, some people are really maybe dropping the ball. It's because they're focused on that next new opportunity, the next new person that pays attention to them. A lot of us are not really capitalizing on the networking opportunities that are presented to us. There's a harsh reality. Now, this harsh reality is one that applies very much to salespeople, and it very much applies to anybody who's out there prospecting, cold calling, doing outreach. It takes between 7 and 13 touch points before we can take somebody from a prospect to a customer. You meet somebody in a networking event, a lot of times, most people will follow up 1 or 2 times and then they move on. And that's just the harsh reality that a lot of people are facing in networking. And then they wonder why they're not growing their business or they're not growing at the level they could if they were focused on building relationships and following up. So there's a real challenge that's taking place in networking. And it's something that a lot of people face. If you go to networking events like I do, or if you go in-person events or even online, you're going to be able to relate to these challenges, but you're also going to maybe be able to adapt this to your own situation and what you're facing. But I know when I go to events, I'll meet people that in the moment, man, they seem excited. They can't wait to talk to me. They're having a great conversation. They're a captive audience. They say, hey, when you get back, let's have another conversation. Let's have a talk. Wow, this is exciting. And I find out that they might even have a project. Wow, this is really more than I expected. Guess what? They're a decision maker. We've all faced this in some situations where we meet people in a moment. They're a captive audience. They're at a networking event. They don't have distractions. They're not dealing with their boss hounding them. They don't have a spouse that's asking them to do things. They're really a captive audience and they're expressing great interest. Sad reality is, though, now all of a sudden they get back and they're not taking your calls anymore. And you feel like they're ghosting you. Maybe they're not ghosting you. Maybe they're just busy, but it really becomes frustrating. And now they're not responding to my emails. What's going on? And you start to feel like self-conscious. Am I doing something wrong? All I'm doing is trying to follow up with them. They said they had a project. They were a decision maker. This was such a great opportunity. And now I feel very frustrated. Now you find out that you do talk to them. They're not even a decision maker. Well, Paul, you know what? I'm going to have to run this by my team. Wait a minute. I thought you were the decision maker. Now you got a team you got to run this by. What's happening here? You really start to feel frustrated with some of these efforts, and follow-up becomes a daunting task. And then they say, you know what, Paul? I like what you're having to say. You seem like a great guy, but we're happy with our current supplier. What happened, man? This all started from a place where they were so excited about me. Now I just feel like this has been a huge waste of my time. This is something that a lot of us face in networking. It's a reason that a lot of us shy away from doing massive follow-ups. We feel like sales is frustrating. In reality, sales is very much a competition. Even it's a competition with ourselves. And sales itself, it's filled with a lot of hurdles, right? Is it? We're told by others. We go to some sales training. We go to some meetings that somebody's a coach and they're saying, all you got to do is find those customers. You got to have those leads. Just show them your benefits. Show them what you offer, how great you are. Be proud of your message. It's easy. Overcome a few objections, then you just simply close the sale. Unfortunately, that process is really not that simple. You've been misled. A lot of times we feel like we're making sales so easy, and then it becomes so complicated, and we shy away from it. And this is why a lot of people shy away from doing follow-up in the level that they should. And I really do think we're focused on the wrong things at times. I remember when I started my company, to me, the priorities were get a logo, a business cards, get a website that I was excited about. Well, those weren't necessarily the priorities I should have been focusing on. And when it comes to our business and when we're out networking, once again, often we've been misled. We're told that we've got this magic tool, an elevator pitch. Well, the word pitch is really one that I think you should be concerned with, because when we're pitching, we're selling. And nobody wants to be sold. Jeffrey Gitomer, the guy who created the little red book of selling and the sales Bible, he said that people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. And that's the reality. People love to buy, but often we're selling them. We're not meeting them where they are. An elevator pitch was designed to give us an opportunity to share what we do in an elevator ride. And unfortunately, a lot of us have taken and we've really just abused that message, and we make it too verbose. It's a salesy message, and it's something that we feel really good about, but what they're hearing is not what we're saying. Because often we say something, we think it's being perceived the way we want it to. That's not always the reality. And the real reality behind all of this is that all buying decisions are taking place at an emotional level. People make buying decisions every day, and they make them based off of emotion. Are you hungry? Are you scared? Are you fearful? Are you excited? Happy? Can't wait for that product? And we're selling them on features and benefits and thinking we're meeting them where they need to be met. And often we might think we're selling to them emotionally, but we're not even speaking to the emotions that are really keeping them up at night. Maybe they're facing fear. They don't know how they're going to keep their doors open. And we're there having a conversation with them about how excited we are about this product that we have. We're not always meeting them where we need to be. So I want to give you guys a gift, those that showed up. If you haven't taken the Yes Test from Advantage, they're one of our sponsors. They're a partner of Boss Academy. So if you follow this link, and please mute yourself if you're not muted, go to advantage.com/Boss Academy. It's a 5-minute assessment. And this assessment is designed around helping you understand your brand archetype. And then it shows you how to emotionally connect with buyers based off your archetype. We use it in Boss Academy all the time. It's something we absolutely love, the tool. And if you join Boss Academy, our mastermind group, or our sales training program, you actually get upgraded to their full brand attraction report, which is a powerful tool. But the free assessment is something I highly recommend you go through if you haven't. So go ahead and either screen capture that or write that down at manatee.com/Boss Academy. But when it comes to emotions, we really need to uncover what are their needs. And how do we do that? How do we do that in a non-invasive way, a genuine way, a way that doesn't seem salesy? Well, I encourage you to get curious. I think curious people extremely well, they thrive very well in sales. If you're curious, you can actually move the conversation forward because you're meeting them where they are. They have their challenges, they have their hurdles, and we're addressing those because we can speak to those things. Now, when it comes to this, I want you to think in terms of how do you plan for this? Call it pre-call planning. Just call it being aware of your clients and what their needs are. But what are their biggest fears? If we understand what's holding them back, what's their hurdles, what's their challenges, we can really start to address those. But where a lot of us fall down is we're in love with our products. We think, man, everybody needs what we have. We're so great. We've got the greatest service. Our features and benefits are amazing. But what problems are you really solving? So if you can start to answer these two questions, it goes a long way towards allowing you to address them where they need to be met. So if your problems aren't solving their fears, maybe you need to rethink that. If their problems aren't addressing their hurdles or the reasons they're emotionally buying, then maybe you need to rethink that. And what does an ideal client get from us? A lot of times we're selling them a service or we're selling them a product, but that's not what they're buying. They're buying a solution that makes them feel better. They're buying something that allows them to sleep better at night. They're buying something that maybe takes some burden off because they're able to grow their business more effectively because they've bought a solution that you're providing. So we often need to be able to meet them where their needs are. And then what does a successful engagement really look like? If you aren't addressing their emotional needs, your problems and solutions, then often you're either talking to the wrong audience or you're just not going to do well with that particular approach, because we have to address their primal needs. And a lot of times when it comes down to it, a lot of decisions take place at a primal level. Fear is a primal trigger. So I encourage us all to get primal. Now I love this picture on this next slide. Primal triggers engage. This guy, he makes me laugh. But it really speaks volumes to the fact that a lot of times we buy decisions based off of really some things that are deep rooted in us. The old flight or fight idea. We don't necessarily have animals that we're trying to hide from and, be able to save our lives, but we do have a lot of things that we still shy away from. We make decisions based off of things that we want to avoid and not necessarily things that we want. It's really about selling to needs. And when we look at primal triggers, a lot of times it centers around emotions. I mentioned the emotional buying. That's why we love the Humanity products. But some other primal triggers that we deal with might be belonging, scarcity, urgency, social proof, authority, reciprocity, and of course, fear. But there are ways that we can connect with people that address those concerns. They speak to their emotions. And one is become a great storyteller. And I had an uncle years ago that unfortunately passed away, but I always loved the fact that he was such a great storyteller. He knew how to capture your attention. And over time, I started to learn to become a better storyteller because I realized that was a secret to really driving engagement, building trust, and being interesting, being entertaining. But another area that we really can shine, and this is something anybody can learn to be better at, is asking questions. Questions are the ultimate solution when it comes to finding out what are their fears, what are their challenges, how will we overcome some of these things that they're facing. They're facing urgency, they're fearful. How do we get there? We need to ask questions and uncover what really sets their situation apart from others. And if we can ask the right questions, we go from them being in control, because often the buyer is in control as a seller. We want to be in control. So how do we do that? Well, I want to talk about questions a little bit more. So questions, they really drive engagement. They attract attention. Like I said, they engage dialogue. It gets them talking. If they're talking, ironically enough, they start to become more interested in what we have to say. It helps uncover pain points. You can learn what makes them tick. But ultimately, it comes down to you're controlling the conversation. You're driving the conversation where you want it to go. Now, we've heard, I'm sure you're like everyone else, you've heard about avoid closed-ended questions versus open-ended questions. Closed-ended questions can be a trap. And it's true. A lot of times.
All right, bye, honey.
Oh, bye. A lot of times we put ourselves in a position where we are going down a path of asking a question that really creates a dead end. Are you happy with your current supplier? Yeah, Paul, I'm happy with my current supplier. Oh, great. Now what? So we're putting ourselves in a position where we're kind of really trapped by that. Closed-ended questions can create doubt in the mind of the buyer. So now all of a sudden they've said no to something. So we want them to go down the path of saying yes. We want them to be feeling affirmative about what we're saying. But if we put them in a position where now all of a sudden they've said, yeah, we're happy with our current supplier. Ooh, that puts me in a bad spot. Trap questions can often lead us nowhere. Now, one thing that's really important, we need to become active listeners. So I was in a sales role many, many years ago, and I had a manager who was just a great leader. And we were doing a road trip among my clients. I think in, maybe 5 days, we must have seen, somewhere in the range of 20, 30 clients between networking events and in-person meetings. And it was a really crazy week. But of those meetings, there was one that I really wanted to be a part of. There was one that I really wanted to dominate. There was a company that I knew that if I could uncover where they were doing some of their outsourcing, that I could find a way of addressing that and finding a way of providing solutions. And so I kind of came up with this idea of how I was going to get there, and I ran it by my manager, and he says, yeah, this is great, Paul, great strategy. So we get in that meeting, and after the meeting's over, we're standing in the parking lot, and I'm feeling pretty good about the meeting. The meeting overall went really well. And I'm standing there talking to him, and he goes, let me ask you a question, Paul. He goes, when you had the opportunity to ask her what that situation was, where she was doing the work, what did she say? I said, man, I don't think she answered me. I was really frustrated because it was such a great opportunity, and it came up just like I thought it would, and I asked that question. He looked at me and he goes, Paul, she answered you. I said, she did? And he goes, yeah, but you were too busy talking. You talked right over the top of her. I had my opportunity. I asked the question. And next thing you know, I'm sitting there just feeling like I'd just been gut punched because I missed a golden opportunity because I didn't stop and listen. So when we're asking questions, we need to be focused on not just asking questions, but really be curious, like I said. Listen to their response and then find a way of addressing it. Now, I created this methodology, ASKOLOGY, around 4 question types because I wanted to make this simple. I wanted to make it applicable. Over the years, I've coached this to many sales teams and many entrepreneurs. This has been something that's really transformed the way a lot of them engage. Because when it comes down to it, if we can simplify the process, we can start asking the right kinds of questions, we can truly drive engagement, and we can be seen as a trusted resource, which is so critical. So I want to walk through these 4 question types. Now, on the next few slides, I'm going to encourage you to get ready to take some screenshots because I am going to share some question types and some lists of questions that you can capture. And I want you to put those to use. I want you to start creating your own questions. As you're thinking about this, as I'm describing this, I want you to start thinking about your own business. So the first one, let's think about where we want to go. One of my favorite types of questions to leverage in a sales and networking conversation is a leading question. Now, this is a question I probably know what they're going to say. I have an idea of what answer they're going to give, but I'm also prepared with how I address my solutions, my offering to help support that. So when we look at leading questions, a great example of a leading question, these are questions that put you in control, but it allows them to feel like they're being heard, and it allows them to really be engaged with you. So an example of a leading question is, how are your suppliers' shipping delays impacting your production schedule? See, with this type of question, we probably know the answer to that. But now all of a sudden we can address it from a different place. We can address it from, it's like, okay, well, one of the things that we've done is we put a system in place to make sure we don't have any shipping delays. We've got some redundancy in place. So now all of a sudden you're addressing it from a place where you know the answer, you know their frustration, and you're ready to talk to them in a place that allows you to meet them where their needs are. And if you're looking at a way of becoming better at leading questions, I encourage you to develop a list of solutions you provide, but these must be things that matter to them. It's not just about your features and benefits, but what are some of the solutions you really provide? And then start to develop questions that can connect their needs with your products and solutions. Okay, on the next slide here, get ready to take a screenshot, but here's some question examples. I'm not going to read through all these, but a leading question might be, what would a successful ad campaign mean in your business? If you woke up to a $30,000 credit line, what would you do? Now, once again, these are questions you probably already know the answer to. You may not know it specifically, but you're ready to answer this and address it with your solutions. How has your current approach to customer acquisition impacted your business growth? Leading questions put you in control because it allows you to lead the conversation where you want it to go. So go ahead and take a screenshot of that. And let's look at the next question type. Next question type focuses around, what do you want to know? If you have things that you don't have answers to, and you really want to understand where their business is, what challenges they're facing, and then you've got ways to address that. These are investigative questions. I really want to find out what their budget is. Now, certain questions you may not ask on the first meeting, but if you get to know somebody and you're having a rapport with them, it's like, let me ask you a question. What is your marketing budget this year? And my marketing budget is about $15,000. Well, and your solution offering is about a $12,000 product. You're probably not in line with them. You're going to have to find a different way of serving them. So understanding where they are, what challenges they're facing, investigative questions do a great job of uncovering that. They uncover real needs. What's your current marketing budget? That's a great example of an investigative question. Some other investigative questions, once again, get ready to take a screenshot here. What pain points have you encountered with your current suppliers? What's your current approach to customer retention? Maybe a follow-up question is, how effective has that been? Here you're starting to ask questions you don't have answers to, but with these answers, now you're prepared to address how your solutions can help meet their needs. And what factors are limiting your ability to scale your business? It's a great question. Well, quite frankly, we just don't have the budget to hire people. Okay, well, what if I could show you a way that you don't have to scale your business with employees, but you could add some automation? We have some AI technology that now allows us to help serve your needs. So now all of a sudden you're addressing their needs from a place where you have information that you didn't have before that meeting. So question type 3, I said that all buying decisions take place at an emotional level. A lot of times people are feeling, they might be stressed, they might be feeling a lot of pressure. Not always, but that's where you need to really find a way of connecting them. Empathy questions are the next type. Why matters. It's a way of connecting with them at an emotional level. When we're looking at empathy questions, these are ones that allow us to really connect with them and relate to something they're dealing with. Empathy questions connect at a deep emotional level. So an example of an empathy question is, how are the recent layoffs I heard about on the news impacting your workload? Man, you have no idea. I'm really working 16-hour days just to cover up for some of these people that have left, and I'm really stressed out. Now all of a sudden you're connecting with them at a level that's deeply emotional. You've uncovered something that allows you to really not only just provide solutions, but now you can connect with them. You can relate to them. And maybe you can even find a way of really deepening that relationship. Empathy questions. Here's another one. You can take a screenshot. How has the stress of managing your business affected your personal well-being? Well, starting to impact things at home. It's been a real challenge. So what challenges are facing in balancing work and family life? What family life? I'm working around the clock right now. What's been the hardest part of leading your team through recent changes? Well, it's really interesting. It's been challenging, but we're seeing some really great camaraderie. It's like, I think culturally, it's really been good for the company. Wow, that wasn't an answer I was expecting, but now you're connecting with them. So empathy questions allow you really to deeply connect. So now the next question type, I always tell people, proceed with caution. The fourth question type is one that not everybody's going to feel comfortable with, and you have to be careful about how you approach it, but in some ways, we refer to it as gently poking the bear. But these are the instigating questions. Instigating questions can be the most powerful questions you ask. They allow you to connect at a deep emotional level, and they really allow you to maybe find things that they're facing that you didn't know. And their instigating questions can focus on their pain, but it's a real opportunity to connect with them. Shouldn't your vendor have caught that mistake? How are they handling it? Now, that seems like a pretty bold question, but I can tell you over the years, I was in market research for 26 years. I can't count the number of times I would find out about a project that somebody had screwed up on with a client that was happy with their current supplier until they weren't. And if you catch them at the right time and you ask that type of question, it can create a deep bond and a deep opportunity for them to really see you as a trusted partner. You understand them. You're facing their challenges. You're relating to them. Here's another one you can take a screenshot of. Instigating questions are some examples of, what do you think is holding your business back from reaching its full potential? Well, budgets, the economy seems to be a real problem. Our clients are really making buying decisions slower than they used to. Okay, so now all of a sudden you've got something you can work with, and you can now all of a sudden connect with them. You know what? We're facing the same challenge. Now all of a sudden you're relating, you're having this conversation that really takes a deeper meaning. So why do you think your competitors are achieving growth faster than your company? It's a great question. We have great products and services. And you start to dive in, you find out maybe it's their sales approach, maybe it's their messaging. What risks are you holding back? Or excuse me, what risks are you avoiding that could lead to significant growth? So these are questions that some of you may not feel comfortable asking, but if you ask instigating questions, you now have an opportunity to really deeply connect with them. So where does this lead us? I said, be curious. Asking questions puts us in a place of discovery. And if we get good enough at this, we ask enough of the right types of questions, we start to understand what are the real challenges and hurdles they're facing, puts us in a place where really can become networking masters. We can become sales masters. We can become people that become much better at engaging and much better at driving the conversation where we want it to go and connecting with them at a deep emotional level. So if there's some advice I had for you on how to become better at asking questions, question mastery, it all starts with creating a list of relevant questions. I encourage you to take those 4 question types. That was leading questions, investigative, empathy, and instigating. Take those 4 question types and start to develop your own set of questions. Come up with 5 questions and start thinking about how does those questions, how can I address those with my solutions? How can I have a conversation with them that takes this something deeper than it would have been if I'd have just come in and did a sales presentation and started talking about features and benefits? Start to track what works and what doesn't. Now, I'll tell you that I used to do sales calls over the phone, and I would do presentations, and I would record them, and I would listen to them in the car with the windows up, and I'd pull up along somebody, just self-conscious as all get out, that even though the windows were up and they couldn't hear it, I just felt so embarrassed. I sounded horrible. It's like, oh, I can't believe I was doing that. Over time, you start to become better. So you need to become somebody who's willing to put the effort in, willing to practice. Role play with colleagues. Hey, you know what? I want to practice doing some sales calls. Would you play along with me and pretend to be a client? You'd be surprised how often somebody wants to participate in that and how effective it really is. And then record conversations, like I said, but ask more questions in your daily lives. I put this to practice at home. I have teenagers, and teenagers are hard to engage with. I ask questions and get them talking. If I say, hey, how was your day? Well, it was all right. But if I ask deeper questions and start to really focus on how do I get them talking, my goal is to get them talking, because if I can do it with teenagers, I can do it with anybody. And like I said, be curious. Okay, so there is another way you can become better at this. And I do want to preface this, that this is not a sales pitch, but this is an offer. So Boss Academy, we've been around since 2014 serving the entrepreneurial space. We formed a partnership with Alignable about 3 months ago. And in that time, we decided we were going to be bringing some educational content and speaker series to Alignable and do what we can to help support you all. But we do have a special offer that we've created with Alignable, where if you go to bossacademy.com/Alignable and you visit that page, you'll see that we have an offer. And the offer is an academy where on a monthly basis, we'll be going into deeper dive workshops on things like ASKOLOGY. Last week, I did a webinar that was based off of follow-up strategies. So every month, we'll be doing deeper dives, kind of a done with you type of service, where you have an opportunity to become much better at what you do. If you want to participate, it's $79 a month. So you can go to bossacademy.com/Alignable. There's no contract. You can try it for a month. And if you don't want to stick with it, we're not holding you to that, because we want people that want to be a part of it. But the Alignable group on Alignable is always going to be free. We're going to continue to provide workshop series, and it's there to support you. If you want to take your journey further, you can apply to be part of our mastermind. So go to bossacademy.com/Alignable. And I do want to share that page with you, because on there, if you visit that, bear with me. I want to show you where you can download your own copy of Askology. So go to bossacademy.com/alignable. And if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see what some of our workshops are. You can download the Askology for free. It's a nice little ebook. It's very powerful. It walks through these 4 question types, gives you some examples, and it lays a foundation that's going to help you become much better at asking questions. And then we also have a special offer for Alignable members and Boss Academy members if you want to do a press release through my company, winningpressrelease.com. We offer press release distribution for members at $99. So you're all welcome to take advantage of that. And then in terms of where we are, we'll just wrap this up here. So I'm a huge golf fan. I love Tiger Woods. He had a phrase, train hard, fight easy. The whole idea here is that if you put the preparation work in, it's easy to apply this in your real life. And Boss Academy is a sponsorship supported community, and I do want to just pay a quick thank you to our sponsors. Edmanity, they've been a partner of ours since 2021. You go to edmanity.com/Boss Academy. You can take the 5-minute assessment that I mentioned earlier. It's very powerful. Master book builders, if you're writing a book and want to go through the process of having somebody support you on that journey, masterbookbuilders.com. Merrill Research, David Schneer, who's a body language expert and market researcher, just put out an amazing book called Backbone. His story is phenomenal, but merrillresearch.com. And then if you're familiar with bank code, the codebreakerglobal.com/Boss Academy. And then Ann Gussif, who's here, Pro Video Pages. She does amazing work. If you're looking to put a video to use to really showcase who you are and why you do what you do, Ann's the person to talk to. And then winningpressrelease.com is my company. So I'm going to open this up to some questions if anybody has any questions. If you have questions, just feel free to raise your hand. Not a single question. Come on now. All right, Pete, what you got? Oh, can't hear you. Nope, can't hear you, buddy. You can put it in the chat if you need. Anybody else? Well, it sounds like you guys have...
Paul, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've enjoyed listening to you. I could listen to you for hours.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. I mean, I've been doing marketing for years, but different businesses, and closing the sale was never my forte. And so I'm gonna read through this. I love the idea about the way to structure questions.
Yeah, and let me know if I can help you. If you guys want, I will put my direct schedule link in the chat, and it's also on the that Alignable page. But you can just book with paul.com. I'm happy to help you guys come up with a strategy. If you're not good at closing, we're going to be doing a workshop on some different closing techniques that entrepreneurs can apply. Because look, I've been self-employed since 2009, and even though I've worked with sales teams and I've coached sales organizations, everything I do centers around, how can an entrepreneur put this into practice? So Al, everything you're saying there is music to my ears, because we all face it, and we get an opportunity to talk to somebody that could be a great prospect, and sometimes they think they're going to pitch us. They want business from us, and we're thinking, how do I get business from them? And you got to find a way of really making sure that they understand their role. And that's one of the things that we can definitely explore, and we'll be talking about that through the monthly workshops that we're doing. See, somebody said, how can we get the link to the recording? Oh, I will send out the link to the recording through Alignable. Those that attended, I do get a notification. I'll just send that out to you. The cost of the mastermind, if you were interested in the mastermind, it's actually less than $100 a month. It's $997 for the year. Our normal rate is $1,200, but right now we're doing $997. And for that, you actually also get upgraded to get the monthly group coaching that we're doing as well. And there's an application process, but if you apply and get accepted, so it's $9.97. Let's see, any other questions?
I had to put a question in the chat. I'm just curious because I was new to Alignable because I heard about this. It's just awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, really good stuff. I set up my profile in Alignable and then it asked me to fill out all this stuff and then it went sort of to a payment plan. So is it free or is there a free plan or is it just
on Alignable itself?
Monthly payment plan?
Yeah. On Alignable, you do not have to be upgraded to the premium. The premium is, I think it's $30 a month, and that just gives you some additional connections. But there's a free plan on there, at least as far as I'm aware. I don't work for Alignable. They happen to be a partner of ours. But my understanding is that the free plan still exists, and the premium plan is $30 a month, which just gives you more connections.
Got it. Cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely, Colleen. You get the full Admanity brand attraction report if you join Boss Academy, which is $1,000 upgrade, and we give that to you for free if you join our mastermind group. Pete, did you get your audio working? Nope, can't hear you, buddy. If you want to just type your question in. Oh, is it $50 now for Alignable, the premium? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm the one who connects to as many people as I can because the business I have is for self-employed people.
Yeah, gotcha.
To get their tax credit that they're owed.
Nice.
The IRS is not going to market to them.
No, they're not, are they? That's great. Well, I thank you all for coming. Pete, if you want to type your message in or if you want to send me a message directly, you can connect with me on Alignable or here I'll put my direct email, paul@paulkirch.com. Real simple. So you can email me if you've got any questions. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you all. I know you got a lot going on. We are going to wrap up a little bit early, but I'll stay on for a few minutes if anybody has anything else. But thank you so much all for being here.